Now, as Wolfgang said, this was been given to us yesterday, and I'm still in the process of writing the scripts for this module. It's very, very complicated. So if something goes wrong or crashes or whatever, I half expect it and I half don't expect it. But I'd like to have your feedback if you've done custom abutments or something and you think something is good or something we should change. And we had that last week. There were a few changes, and we appreciate this feedback because personally, to be honest, I've never milled a custom abutment myself.
Digitally.
So digitally. So, this is all new territory for me. So I'm building from ground zero up. So we're going to see how this works. And this is a very, very difficult case to start with. So I've made videos to a certain point, like a tutorial, and now it's the custom abutments, which I'm still developing a bit, and then we're going to finish it. We're going to have the whole thing in a long tutorial. Okay, thanks, Wolfgang.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. This is the case. What do we have here? We've got all of our models. I'll just put this aside. We've got the gum. We've got the tooth library. Now, the tooth library, what I've done is I've set up the teeth and then I've exported them into a new Blender file. Then I've used the articulator. I cut all the excursive movements in, but a fresh file. And then I imported these into my scene. And I find that quite a bit easier because you can see how many objects we've got in the scene. So to simplify it, take your tooth library, export it, start a new one, put it in the articulator, cut them, and then import them back in. I find that the easiest way to do. Now, also in the scene, what we have is what I've done is I've aligned the scan bodies and the components have all been aligned to the scan. So I'm not going to go through that, how that works. So what we're going to do is we're going to tackle this quite easily. So I'm going to start with the easy things first. So I've got one of these prefaces. Now in the component module, you can see this is a Medentica comb log 4.3, and this is what it looks like. It's just it's an open face, preface they call it. So what I'm going to do now, there's a screw here. We don't need it. I'm going to delete it. We're going to go, and I've hidden everything else just to make things easier. So we're going to take it one step at a time, and you can see how difficult this case actually is because when you're looking at how these implants are placed, we've got this lateral there, which we need to join here with a custom abutment. Not only that, we've got two teeth over here, which join like that. So these implants have not been placed with a surgical guide. It's quite evident. Here, for example, we've got the molar. And okay, maybe the bone availability in this molar we can understand, so we can bend this across. Not easy. Okay, so we're going to start small, and I'm going to hide a few things that I just want to get out of my way. So we're going to go into the crown module, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a tube. Now, there's a lot of work that I've done on this tube today and this last week. Please just update your module. It takes about 4 seconds for the crown module or 6 seconds. Always click update module, especially now that we have to make this work. So we're going to go down to the tubing, which is this menu here. So I'm going to hover over there, control left click to close all the other menus. Then we're going to select it and we're going to make a tube. Now this tube the scene will change. We're looking at it from the front now, and that's because we've actually created coordinates. It's 1.2 millimeters, it's times 2, so it's 0.6 millimeters. I'm going to accept this tube. And now this new feature allows us to move this tube if we want to. We didn't have this before, but it is a very useful thing to have, especially with these custom abutments. Okay, I'm going to unhide this one. And now what we're going to do is we're going to join that up. So let's just hide this again. The tooth library is like this. We want to change the mesh structure. And then in the bottom of this bar module, the custom abutments, we're going to put this similar to the crown module. We're going to put this in a tooth collection, which we can hide and unhide. And then we're going to edit this mesh. Now, here what we want to do is we would like to go into transparent mode because we want to, with the C key, select an entire section. So not only the front, but all the way through. And then we're going to use the G key and the S key to scale. And we're going to then use the R key and try and put this thing where the preface is. So the preface is around here, which we can see. From this side, I'm going to look at it from that side, use the R key and the S key to scale. So basically, I want this in my tube. If I can get this sort of into my tube, something like this. All right, so back to object mode. And I'm going to briefly look at my tissue and my gum here. So that's what it looks like at the moment. We can change it from any different way. We can look at it from the bottom and we can say, okay, maybe we want to extend this out over here a little bit. So I'm going to go edit mesh, make sure the magnet tool is on and use the G key and we can sort of shape it and it'll then stick to where we want it. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because we've got lots to cover. Then what we want to do is we want to cut this out. So in the molar area, the custom abutment, we can have supragingival. For the for anterior teeth, obviously we want to hide it. And then if we want to hide it, we're going to cut out this mesh, this tooth. So
Michael, just hang 10 a second because there seems to be a bit of a lag here on this side.
Okay.
It's got to like kind of catch up. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, you just edited the mesh and you've gone out of object mode now. So, okay. Yeah, now continue.
Okay. So we're going to draw, and this, as I said, we can see where the tissue is. I don't like the way this tissue is because I think this has been created from a different scanner where the tissue has actually been cut from the model. I don't like that at all. I prefer having the model and the gum all in one. So I just like to mention that. So here, what I'm going to do is we're going to cut this out. I'm going to go a little bit supragingival.
Yeah, so you're creating a bit of a collar in the back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to join that up and then we're going to cut it. Because it's a molar, we're going to cut the upper surface. Like in the crown and bridge work module, it turns yellow, the other ones turn green. Now what I want to do is I want to actually see the model and we want to, okay, this one we don't want to see. So always beware of what's going on in your scene. So let's have a look at the actual model.
So it's created a yellow surface there and that kind of mimics the fitting surface onto the gum. Is that right?
Yeah. That's about right. Well, okay. So I just want to see my model. Just hold on a sec. Here, that's my model. Okay. Here, like that. So my objective now is to take this little part of a tooth, and we're going to extrude it upwards into my direction. So I'm changing my view. And
Okay,
we're going
just
to
hold
look
on.
at
I
it
think
from the
there's a
top.
bit of an internet lag here. Unfortunately, I don't know why. So you're just pivoting the scan to view it from the top. Okay, that's where we are now. And it's like
All right.
in your direction of view. So this is going to
Yeah.
extrude the yellow surface upwards. Isn't that correct?
Towards me, exactly like when we're making the dies and the model design and it extrudes away from you. This extrudes towards you.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to extrude it towards me. Okay, now this is what it's created. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide the screw holes. So I'm going to flip over to the component module, and if I can just take in the crown module, and just take the screw hole and just hide those. Yeah, screw holes, hide them. Okay, now what we're going to do is this is all 90 degrees, and we're going to create a measurement if you want to create a measurement, if you want to angle it. So I'm going to follow this line. So this is a little bit of it's easy to do when you understand how it works. Okay, so we're going to make an angle and we're going to view it. And this is 90 degrees at this stage.
So just
Now,
wait, let the indicator come up, Michael. It hasn't come up yet.
Okay. That's a long delay, actually.
Yeah, now we can see the angle indicator, which says 90 degrees. So you did that by selecting certain vertices. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So,
So 1, 2, and
so
I
we've got
followed
a
the line 3.
parallel surface at the moment.
Exactly. Also note that you will see the pink. The pink is the outline of where we've cut it. That is the margin. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale this inwards. Okay. So we can scale that inwards if we want it, like that, as much as you want, or you can scale it outward as well. And if you want to create an angle, we're going to scale the top. Okay, so scale the top, and that works in increments. Now, I don't have control over, okay, let's do it 2 degrees and that's it, because the longer this abutment is, it will always change. It won't be 2 degrees anymore. So, but if you want it 2 degrees, you will then scale it until you get to, okay, 92.2.
Okay, so you just click
so
the button and that scales it inwards.
You just click the button.
Now,
Okay,
here's a question, Michael. If you're doing multiple at the same time, or do you can you do that? Okay.
Yeah, you can. And I'll present that in the next abutments that I'm going to. Now, at this stage, we're going to toggle we don't want it such a sharp edge. So we're going to toggle the top, and then Control B we're going to create a bevel, and then with the mouse wheel, we get to set. So what I'll do is I'll just go back, Control B, move the mouse, and then we can set how much we want this to bevel. And there are additional settings over here which we can use. You can make all types of different bevels, but I'm not going to go into this tonight.
So you can like subdivide the bevel edge to round it more, so that it's safer for milling as such. So you don't get that very sharp edge.
Exactly. So this 104, ignore that, because now it's changed because we have beveled it.
Yes.
I'm going to delete that. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to remesh it. And this is a very, very important thing that we have to do. But it uses my algorithm to remesh it. It's not using anything else. The other thing we need to be careful of is that we don't want this to go downhill like this, because we know that these banks, they don't go down. They are just straight. Okay.
That means you've got to pull it up in those areas of the downward slope, correct?
Exactly. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move that up a little bit like that, because this whole thing has to attach to that thing. Okay.
Yeah.
then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remesh this abutment. And this is then neatly remeshed the abutment. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is very important. Next thing is we want to then connect this thing up to actually create an abutment. So we're going to go to the crown module. And here we're going to propose a border. Okay. It's going to propose a border. You can just check it that it's all above the surface, cut the mesh, and then what we're going to do is complete it. So that is basically your complete. You can still smooth it if you want to. Okay, so that's still an additional option.
I had a question here, Michael. Is it possible to angle the occlusal part? Oh, you can show us in the next one if you demonstrate another one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. And you can show how you can make that step, that bevel, you can actually invert it. So it doesn't have to be around. It can take on a S shape or whatever shape you wish.
Well, that's correct. Okay, and we'll cover that in our tutorials as well. But for today, let's just keep it light because yeah. Okay, so here's a bridge. Okay, so let's do the same thing with the bridge. So first thing, and I would suggest doing them singly, like a bridge or single. Don't do it all in one, because what has happened during my working today is that the opposite one has interfered. One of the opposite ones has interfered. This one goes then through this side, and then we've got a locator and it's selected both of them, which was a bit annoying. So yeah, so these are things that we need to point out as well.
So here it's a good idea to have like a minimalistic approach to your 3D working window. Just hide, all kinds of things and just focus on the job at hand.
Yeah, but don't muck around with these
collections.
Yeah. I've seen some people use a guide and they become very inventive and they start putting sleeves in their own my sleeve collection, and it just nothing will work. Okay. So the critical components that do stuff, just leave them alone. All right, so let's do this bridge. I'm going to go back to my crown module. And here we're going to do the same. Make a tube.
So you're following the same procedure now for this one.
Yeah, so if it extends the other way around, you've done it wrong, okay? So, okay, let me go back. One, I'll just save what I have because I don't want anything to get lost. So if it goes in the other direction, it's the wrong way around. Control Z back, and we're going to then do it this way, okay? And again, we can move this as soon as we've accepted the tube.
If you move it, Michael, do you change the thickness of the layer of the tube?
No, the thickness stays the same. So what it's measured is 0.6 millimeter from this edge to that one there.
Okay, so if you move it, it still remains 0.6.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, okay, now we've got that, and we want to do exactly the same thing. So I'm going to head here. Now, actually, we'll do this one as well. So here.
Well, you're doing both at the same time.
Yeah, but when we just try and keep it minimalistic. So don't do the whole thing. We want to focus on a few, make sure it works, and so on. So
yeah.
Accept that, and I can just move it. Okay. So then what we're going to do is the same thing.
So you're submerging the root, the apex of the tooth mesh onto the blue tube, correct?
Exactly. At the moment, my tooth library is like that. It can work to your advantage because then you can just move these over here.
Yeah.
But for now, what I'll do is I'll go into the bar module, put this into all three into the tooth collection, which remeshes them. We can hide and unhide them.
So it doesn't matter what tooth library you actually import. By remeshing it, it's going to create that consistent mesh geometry that makes it successful, in other words.
Yeah. Now here, one word is when you go edit mesh, you can see all the way through this wire, but we are not in transparent mode, because when I go see, you'll notice I'm only selecting the front. Okay, click the X-ray one and then see, because we want to select all of them like this.
And you've got to be
Okay.
in proportional editing mode. Isn't that correct, Michael?
Yeah, and you've got to make sure that the magnet tool is not on, because if the magnet tool is on, you're heading into problems.
I was just going to stick
okay?
to the closest surface of any other object.
100% correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So transparent on, scale it, and then just grab it down and plonk it onto the tube, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So here I'll go C again like that. R to rotate like this. I'm going to move it down to my actual preface.
Does it have to touch the tube or just intersect onto the tube?
No, you can scale it smaller, and then you can actually have it. You know, you can have it like really into. You can have it all the way into the tube, but I would suggest just having it sort of
Like
above,
just
like
in the close proximity of the tube. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, because that what happens is this tooth becomes part of the tube. So you can imagine a tooth library with the tube attached to it.
Yeah.
Then this preface abutment is going to cut it, and then it'll join it together
onto the interface of the implant. Yeah. Abutment.
Correct. Okay. Now, also note that the mesh geometry is like different because we've stretched it. It's sometimes a good idea if you stretch it that far just to put it through this one again, which will then remesh it like that. Okay, so this is a better mesh because all of the vertices are quite close together. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to see the gum, which is over here. And as I've said to you before, we can change the bulbousness of this this implant. We don't always know where the bone is, but this is sort of a bone level implant. So we should assume that this is like on bone level, but if it's not, then we can change that.
Yeah, wouldn't you narrow the neck a little bit? I mean, depending. I mean, the question is, will this blanch the gum, or is it even going to go down?
Exactly. So if you really want to narrow the neck, go into edit mode, make sure the magnet tool is on, and then you can just click on here, use the G key, and you can actually make it adhere to the actual. Do you know what I mean? We can make it.
Yeah. To the actual canal of the transmucosal kind of extension bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I've done is I've just put it in like that. So we can do quite a lot here. And of course, you can also sculpt if you want to.
Yeah, but working with a mesh is way easier than coming with sculpting tools and all that stuff, eh? Isn't it?
Yeah. I suppose you can. So here what I'll do is I'll take the magnet tool off here and then stretch it. So it's always between proportional editing and using the magnet tool.
So it's like an interplay between those two. You know, you got to get the balance.
Yeah, you got to get the balance right. Okay, so we're going to go into object mode and we're going to cut this now. So again, I'm going to keep this super gingival. So we're going to start drawing here, and we're going to take this above.
Okay, so this is now the cuts between the custom abutment and the finished crown, basically.
Yeah, that's correct.
So if the tooth is quite narrow, you would end up obviously with quite a narrow custom abutment.
Yeah, correct. Okay, let's cut it. This is the top, create surface, and we're going to do now the same. So I'll just do this quickly so we we can get through all of this. So again, I'm going to go edit. No need to explain it this time around. Like that. Object mode, we can look at it like this. Okay, so we're going to
Just a
cut this one.
question. Oh, we just gone past it, but maybe you can still answer. Can you cut under the gum too?
Yes, this is exactly what I want to say, because with front teeth, or even maybe this one here, maybe you want to go underneath the gum. So let us put this to practice. So first of all, I'll just take this and move it up like that, like that. That's good. Yeah, like that. Perfect. Object mode. And what I'll do is I'll put my cursor there and start drawing my gum. So here, what I'll do is we're going to go underneath.
Okay, so you want to bring that subgingival, the margin line.
Yeah.
That could be a good idea, because if you want to, especially in the anterior section, you've got zirconia, you really don't want to show any of the abutment.
Yeah, and even here on the lingual side, you can come up if you want to. You can take it up as high as you like, you know, basically. So here, and then what I'll do is I'll fuse it, create upper surface. Okay. Now, because this is a bridge, let me just H to hide a few things. And I'll hide this one as well. Hide this one. Now what we're going to do, there's a few buttons still missing, because I need to have a button which selects this automatically without actually hiding stuff. All right, now we're going to view this from the top. I want to see my model as well. So where is my model? Here, my model is here.
Oh, you don't want to extrude it into your tooth. So is it like a bit of a survey angle that you're determining here?
Yeah. So let's just select these again. Okay. So we're going to look at it from the top. It's going to extrude towards me. So don't extrude it like that or like that. Actually, have a look at the thickness of the crown. Okay. Something probably like that.
Oh, so you kind of
Also, we
centering
don't
it.
want it extrude into the contact either.
Yeah, so
you know,
equidistant kind of.
yeah, I think a bit of intuition, you know, is quite good, and practice, of course. Okay, extrude. All right, so we've got it extruded. Let's see where our crowns is. Okay, so the crown here is outside a little bit. We can change it, or you can go back if you want to. So okay, let's just make this one back again.
Maybe,
I'll just extrude it a little bit.
I mean, you
different.
can always later, when you go into the crown and bridge module, you can pull the crown out a bit as well, can't you? Because then we're working with a safety zone again.
Well, that's 100% correct. This time around, I'm not going to mark the angle, because we've already discussed that.
But can you show us occlusally if we can narrow it? I think that was a question.
Yeah. So, okay, what we'll do is we'll move the sides inwards like that, as much as you want, and then we'll scale this inwards. Okay, so it's scaling it inwards like that. All right, so here we go. That's looking quite good. We will select the top, Control B on the keyboard, move it, and here we've already got our pre-selected curvature, our bevel.
Yeah.
All right, so the next step would be we need to remesh this thing, and it's exactly the same as what we did earlier. So here, this is looking quite nice. Select them, remesh abutment, like that. We're going to go to the crown module, and
Okay.
we're going to propose a border.
This procedure is like dedicated to connecting what you've achieved with abutment to the abutment interface. You're connecting it.
Correct, correct. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this is what you're seeing here is the screw hole cutter. So, but we don't need to make screw hole. Wolfgang, can you explain that quickly?
Yeah, well, the Medentica, I think this is what you're using. It's got the screw hole going right through the actual pre-mill.
Correct, absolutely correct. So what we're going to do is, here are some spares. We don't need these spares. I'll just delete them for now. Here, spares. Okay, so, and then what we can do is we can smooth it down as well. But before we smooth anything, we'd like to create surfaces. Now, this is done automatically. So we're going to extract the surfaces. So extract upper surfaces over here. So that's extracted that. And here we're going to extract upper surface. Okay, so now how does that work? Okay, so we will then be able to go straight into the crown and bridgework module. Okay, let's just do a quick crown. So here, crown, we're going to go into survey upper. We've got a lot of stuff in our way. I'll just hide that here. Something like that. I'll block it out.
And that makes the blue surfaces ready for the crown.
So we're exactly back to don't worry about these lines. They won't come up when we do the module. These are just relationship lines. We can just uncheck this one. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to go to the margins, contacts and margins. I'll give it a 0.2 millimeter, select it again, create a spacer for that, auto spacer. All right, from here, we're going to go generate crown. Let's have a look for our crown. Our crown is here. And let's just click it and let's just see generate upper crown. Excellent. So here we've got a custom abutment and a crown that goes on top. I'm going to move the hole cutter upwards. Okay, so I've lost my coordination here. So this is something maybe not, maybe it's just, yeah, global. No, I haven't. It was just on global. That's okay. Select this and cut the hole going through it. Excellent. What does that look like? Okay, so we've got a hole. Perfect. And we've got our abutment. Our crown is finished and our abutment is also finished. Like that. This one is a spare one. We don't need it for now. Okay. And then of course we would then do exactly the same thing with this one. So how much time do we have left, Wolfgang?
Yeah, it's 9:40 for us, which is 20 minutes to go for those who want to stay. that
All
will
right.
make up the hour.
Survey. Look at it. Like that. Block it out. Okay, margins for these two. Select them, spacer. And of course, if we wanted to make copings for those, we could make copings instead of crowns. That's the other thing, very quick to make copings.
And then the bridge frame as such.
You can make a bar or anything on top of that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the generating of crowns. My restorations, Alt H, because I've hidden them. Okay, so this one, let's just have a look at it. Yeah, it should work.
Maybe pull the mesh out a little. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's
it
very
should
thin,
work.
isn't it? It's very thin there. Oh, it's
Yeah,
past the
but
safety zone. It should be okay. What's your safety zone?
yeah,
0.6.
yeah, yeah. So let's just generate this upper crown. And then, of course, once that's done, we fuse them together to make the bridge. Okay, that's done perfectly, beautifully. Let's do this one as well.
Michael, just a question. With the Medentica implants,
Here we go.
would you be able to bring in a pre-mill, or am I going to ambush you with that? Just to see how the the cylinder fits over.
Okay, you've ambushed me because I've deleted the spare one.
Okay.
Now I may have lost my orientation. I may not have. I'm not sure. Let's just have a look. Yeah, I could have lost my orientation because we need that to bring that in. We should have done that beforehand. So maybe it's good not to delete that, because then we can use that one, the coordination, otherwise the coordination is lost.
So you'll be able then to fit that over to check the dimensions to see that.
But what I can do is, like for this one, for example, we can bring one in just to show what it actually looks like. So we're going to go to the where is it? Abutment blanks.
That's it. That's it.
That's correct. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's just take a.
That's a 3.3. No, I think it's a 3.8. The front ones are 3.3 cam log, I think.
The back ones are 3.8, isn't it?
That's right.
So, wow, this one is massive.
Gee, you got a big chunk there. All right.
It's like, what do you mill with
Don't
that?
worry.
I don't know.
I think you've got enough space.
Select destination, put this in there. So here we can see what that looks like. So once we connected that up, we can, so this is like really tricky, this case, because you can see the blank where that is, and you can see where this tooth is. So we need to pull this all the way across in order to make this abutment. But I think what we'll do is we'll leave it here, and then that will be part of the tutorials that we can do some other
or
day.
Maybe part 2, can you maybe do another session to finish it? Or is that next time? Because what I think is very interesting is the front lower ones. They're very close for one, and also you've got to stretch the mesh a hell of a long way, or you've got to rearrange the teeth a bit. I'm not sure what's the best.
No, well, I've actually done this. I've done this today, and it worked very, very well, actually.
Okay.
So if we've got enough time, we can just see how this pans out.
I'm really interested to see you work on that tricky one. Yeah, those two teeth, because that's a real challenge. Actually, I think the scan bodies were almost touching each other.
What is that?
The scan bodies were almost touching each other. No, I think it was the tooth 4-3. Those
I think what I
two.
need is I need to bring these in. Except, yeah. So this is working, okay. Okay, so this is it. We need to curl that one in. So I'm going to hide a few. In the bar module, I'm going to remesh this tooth, edit that, go into transparent, the C key, take that. Actually, that's a little bit much, like this. Use the G key, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Alt B. Now you can go Alt B even when you're in edit mode. Some of you guys may not know that. So Alt B will always work. Doesn't matter what mode you are using.
It won't
So,
work if you're on Team Viewer, Michael, because Alt B conflicts with the Team Viewer shortcut keys.
does it? Damn, I didn't know that. Okay, so what we do then is, it's quite tricky, but I'm going to go and edit, make sure the magnet tool is on, and then we're going to stick this to the actual screw like that.
Is that the magnet tool doing that?
Yes, and we're sticking it to our screw hole. Okay, like that. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that actually, it's not as difficult as what you thought it would be. And then we do the same thing for the other side, but because it's stretched so much, I'll just remesh this one. And of course we can smooth it as well. We can sculpt it if we want to. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go into the crown module, and no, not yet. It's not yet. We need to outline it. So here, and again, this time around, we want to line it on the inside. So edit, magnet tool on, and I'll just bring that out a bit like this. Like that. Shift right click to place my cursor in the bar module, start drawing, and we're going to extrude this.
So subgingival in this area.
Inside, and then we can bring it outside from there, like that. And then we can dive down back inside, like that.
Oh, yeah.
Join them up. Okay, and then cut. This time we're cutting the lower surface like this. Okay, then with it being selected, look at it from the top. Actually, we can't look at it from the top because we've got two, because we're making a bridge, remember? So this one here, we need to do as well.
That's right. That's right.
So okay, because it's part and parcel of a bridge. Okay, so I don't like this mesh. We'll just remesh that like that. Edit, transparent, like that. Use the G key, like that. Oh, this
So the
looks a bit,
workflow is always the same. Doesn't matter
this
what.
looks a bit wonky. Hey, this looks a bit weird. Alt B.
Maybe create more volume with the magnet tool.
Like that, S to scale. Okay, like that. And then what we're going to do is Alt B again, get out of it. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to, oh gosh, this looks a bit weird, but it's not the end of the line here. We're going to take this one
And just
go
start
into
shaping it.
edit mode, make sure the magnet tool is off, G to grab. And we, of course, this is like a really, really challenging case, isn't it? Magnet tool on.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to stick this to our screw like that. Here, what we can do is we can move that down a bit, like that, something like this. Okay, so a little bit tricky, this one, Wolf.
Yeah, sure is.
I'm going to look at it from the inside, and then we're going to put the magnet tool back on, use the left click and use the G key like that. Make it adhere to the surface like that. That's looking quite good.
So it's not really blanching the gum, is it?
No, because that's actually sticking. When I do that, it actually sticks to the gum.
Okay, so
Okay.
it like superimposes onto the mesh of the gum. kind of.
Yeah, yeah, but of course, if you wanted to sculpt, you can just neaten up this mesh as well, which is
Yeah,
sometimes a good idea to do that, you know.
yeah.
So here, let's do that. Okay, maybe it would be good to have a heat map. I don't know. Then you can see how thick it is.
I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
Just off the top of my head, maybe not. I don't know. Drawing. We're going to go above surface, like that. And then we're going to dip below surface again.
I
like
think
that.
maybe heat map wouldn't be a bad idea, actually.
I don't know. Now we're going to take both of these. So let me hide the tissue, the gum, like that. So I'm going to take this one and that one, this one and this one. Look at it from the top. Let's have a look and see what our model looks like. Okay, well, we don't really have a model here. So we need to look at it. You see, so here what happens is the tooth it's quite tricky, isn't it, Wolf?
Yeah, it is quite. You might even have to pull it over later when you finish the crown.
So extrude like that. Let's just look at this. Okay. At least, well, it's parallel. Scale sides inwards. We'll scale it quite a bit. Scale that inwards like that.
So,
And then we can move this tooth over, if you know what I mean.
yeah, the tooth. Okay.
Yeah, the tooth.
Yeah. Of course, that screw canal is a lot thinner than what your cutting tool is.
Exactly.
You got to know your measurements, I think. Mm.
Yeah, you've got to. So here what we're going to do is we're going to just check it again, remesh it. And then we're going to join it up to our, we're going to go back to the crown module, propose a border. Yeah, propose a border. Cut the mesh and complete.
Here's a question.
Here's it dipping down a bit. So one has to be very careful that it doesn't dip down.
Yeah.
Okay. Complete that.
So, yeah.
Okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
And then all we need to do is extract the surfaces. And then we're back to exactly where we were before. Extract lower surfaces. And then we can make our crowns or copings.
Before you extract the surfaces, was it still possible to create the maybe the occlusal side, the incisal side? Can you pull it up or down? You know what I mean?
Yeah, actually, you know what? Before let's go a few steps back before we actually do this.
Just also save your work.
Before we do this, file, save as, blah, blah, blah. I've got a lot of blah, blah, blah things on my thing. Okay, yeah, you're 100% right. So what we can do still is we can move things inwards if you wanted to. You can take this and we can move this inwards a little bit if you wanted to. You see? So we don't end up with a super thick crown.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What about incisally? Can you on the other tooth, can you pull it up a little bit?
Yeah, you just select and then GZ.
Ah, so this is a reason that the whole abutment is actually remeshed so that you've got a good mesh structure to pull it up.
To pull and to push and to do whatever we want to do.
So if you had a molar dipping onto your, so you could actually sink the occlusal table as well, can't you? Whichever you like. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can bring this mesh in a little bit.
Yeah, of course,
So
now
which
we've got
is,
less parallel surfaces, but you know, you've got
but
to
not much,
consider
only one surface. I mean, one surface is less parallel.
the rest of it is okay. Yeah.
Exactly,
And it's
exactly.
going to be bridged.
Yeah, it's a bridge.
Mm,
Yeah, that's right.
mm.
All right, then. Yeah, so then we just carry on as usual.
So now
We
you
do
put your
our,
surfaces on.
but yeah, but this time what I want to do is I just want to correct this one here, because remember it was a little bit below
Yeah.
where it should be. Okay, so proportional editing is on. I'm going to just take this and just shift it inwards a little bit like this. As long as it's above this
You have to
this
protect
thing
that
over here.
purple line. You can't move that.
No, you can move
Oh,
it.
you can move it.
You can pull it out or whatever as much as you like.
Yeah.
But here, for example, we are too low, you see.
That's right. So
We are too low.
there's nothing you can do. I mean, it's going to, that's the way. If it's going to be a little bit high off the gum, well, what can you do? It's just, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Crown module, proposed border, and let's just cut it.
So then
Proposed
put your
border,
surfaces on survey and then put your safety zone on.
cut, complete. Excellent. That's looking really, really, really good.
Okay,
And
so
then of
yeah,
course,
now you can hide or delete the duplicate. You've got a duplicate interface
yeah,
there.
actually we can just put them in I've got to look at the coding that it's hidden automatically, but it's been an absolute nightmare to develop that. But anyway, so okay, what we want to do is we want to extract these surfaces automatically again. Here, extract
Excellent.
lower surfaces. And then you can see it's like, here it's going a bit top, the other one is subgingival, and then carry on with the crown module to finish that. So that's really, really cool.
Okay, then the
Good,
chrono
good.
bridge takes over from there.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, just hide everything.
Oh,
Just show us the abutments that you've made today.
okay, let's do that. So I'll just select them. Just give me a sec. There's just too much on the scene at the moment. Just give me a sec, Wolf. Here, hide. Hide all these. Hide. Okay. Yeah, so here we go. We've got this one we haven't done yet.
Okay, don't worry.
Yeah, we've created the top. So here's quite a few custom abutments. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I think we five. We've made 5 here. Okay, this one we haven't done yet. Excellent. Well, that's looking good.
Excellent. I think you should save your work and then do another session just to finish the whole job.
I think so. I think that would be quite good. I'll just save this.
So what's your take-home message?
My take-home message is that there's a lot of learning to be done.
But just keep it simple, you know, just hide stuff and object management a little bit.
Yeah, to keeping things simple.
So
Always
you've got an established workflow. You're making the tubes and then you're connecting the tooth library on there. Then you're creating this yellow or green surface that you point towards yourself. and then you're extruding that into parallel, and then you just start working on the abutments, put the step in, change the angle, remesh it.
I
and
think,
then,
Wolf, we should have a flow chart with this,
yeah,
because then the user will know exactly what to do. You know, it's like making tubes and then, you know, connecting the tooth to close to the abutment and blah, 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 blah.
yeah. Excellent. All right.
I'm going to stop sharing. If there's any questions or you've got some